Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the History and Mystery channel. I'm your host, the Chronicler, and I want you to like and subscribe. Now that you have done that, let's travel back in time to uncover the life of a man who reignited the Roswell mystery and brought it back into the public spotlight, Stanton T. Friedman. Before Stanton became famous as a UFO investigator, he was actually a nuclear physicist. He wasn't always chasing flying saucers. After earning his bachelor's and master's degree in nuclear physics from the University of Chicago, Stanton spent 14 years from 1956 to 1970 working on top secret projects, including nuclear aircraft, fission and fusion rockets, and power plants for space travel. It all changed starting in 1958, when Stanton was working at General Electric. While ordering books to read in his spare time, he stumbled upon the report on unidentified flying objects by United States Air Force Captain Edward Ruppelt. In 1960, at the University of California in the Berkeley Library, he stumbled upon Project Blue Book, Special Report number 14. He was astonished because it hadn't been mentioned in any of the 15 books he had read. The book provided him with tons of data, information about 2,300 sightings, 240 charts, tables, graphs and maps. It also had the press release that the Air Force issued when the document was released. With all the data at hand, he was shocked that he discovered that the Air Force was lying about the results of their study. This began an almost 60-year-long quest for the truth about flying saucers. Fast forward to February 20, 1978. While promoting a lecture he had scheduled that evening, Stanton was on a coffee break, chatting with a TV station director. The director mentioned Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who had handled the mysterious debris from the 1947 Roswell crash. Intrigued, Stanton contacted Marcel the next day. Marcel shared his story about the strange wreckage, though he couldn't recall the exact date of the crash. Stanton had tracked stories of flying saucers before, like one about some dozen alien bodies hidden away in Hangar 18 at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the same base where the Roswell material reportedly had been flown to. Stanton decided not to pursue this lead any further for now, for the information was too vague. On October the 24th, 1978, at another lecture he met Vern Malte. He told Stanton the story of Barney Barnett, who was at the second crash site found in Roswell, New Mexico, as told in our previous video about the Roswell Incident. Fascinated by the story, he wrote down his name and continued his day. Later that day, Stanton ran into a friend he had known for years, William Moore, who is as fascinated by flying saucers as Stanton is. Stanton asked William to look into the story of Vern Malte. On February 10, 1979, after months of research, William found several clippings of newspaper articles that verified Jesse Marcel's story. Several names were mentioned, like the name of the rancher, Mac Brazel, and many more. Stanton and William uncovered more witnesses and details. Together, they published the Roswell Incident in 1980, a book that spread the word that perhaps, just perhaps, a flying saucer had indeed crashed in Roswell. This book reignited public interest in Roswell, and over the next decade, Stanton and William continued their research. Each new witness added another piece to the puzzle, keeping the mystery alive. In December 1984, a plain envelope arrived at the home of Los Angeles movie producer Jamie Sendera, who was known to be working with UFO investigator William Moore in intelligence-related activities. It contained exposed but unprocessed black and white 35mm film. When developed and printed, the film revealed 8 pages of briefing papers for President-elect Dwight D. Eisenhower, dated November 18, 1952. It described the discovery, recovery and preliminary analysis of the remains of what crashed 75 miles northwest of Roswell, New Mexico, including the mention of the Majestic 12 in its 12 members' backgrounds and activities. Jamie and William, together with Stanton Friedman, spent the next 2 years trying to determine if the document was genuine or phony. By spring of 1987, the matter remained inconclusive. In the summer of 1988, the Fund for UFO Research Inc. embarked upon a successful campaign to raise $16,000 to support the proposal from Stanton Friedman to investigate the Majestic 12 documents. Majestic 12 is a super secret group of extremely important people from the scientific, military and intelligence fields, who were charged with the responsibility of learning everything about what crashed in New Mexico in 1947. These 12 men were the very creme of the American military, intelligence and scientific communities in the summer of 1947. All were perfectly logical and obvious choices for such an unusual and important project. Stanton Friedman tracked them down through telephone and appointment logs and personal and official correspondence found in their papers in the presidential libraries and the documents divisions of the Library of Congress. Their comings and goings, their meetings and conferences could be traced on certain significant dates. Stanton believed the Majestic 12 documents to be authentic. Stanton examined the documents and argued that the United States government has conspired to cover up knowledge of a crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft. Upon examination, the Federal Bureau of Investigation declared the documents to be completely bogus, and many ufologists considered them to be an elaborate hoax. Majestic 12 remains popular among some UFO conspiracy theorists, and the concept has appeared in popular culture, including television, film and literature. In August 1989, Stanton interviewed Glenn Dennis, a mortician from Roswell. Dennis claimed that in 1947, the Roswell Air Base asked him about small caskets and body preservation techniques for beings not of this world. According to Dennis, a nurse told him she had witnessed an alien autopsy. Dennis' story became one of the most well-known accounts of alien bodies connected to the Roswell crash. In fact, he was called the star witness of the Roswell Incident. This testimony further fueled the idea that there was more to the story than just a weather balloon. Glenn's accounts gained widespread attention when it was featured on the TV show Unsolved Mysteries, with Stanton as a technical advisor. A 1990 private interview with Glenn Dennis is included as part of the US Government National Archives. In 1991, Glenn Dennis co-founded a UFO museum in Roswell along with the former RAF Public Information Officer Walter Holt. Stanton Friedman published Crash at Corona in 1992, which predominantly featured Glenn Dennis's accounts of the Roswell Incident. But this story unraveled in 1994 when researchers discovered he had lied about some details, casting doubts on his claims. Despite this, the alien autopsy idea remains a central part of the Roswell lore. Throughout his career, Stanton T. Friedman wrote numerous books, appeared on TV shows and gave hundreds of presentations about flying saucers. He even provided a testimony to the US Congress and once spoke at the United Nations about UFOs. Stanton never stopped searching for the truth, and his efforts made Roswell one of the most famous UFO cases in history. Though he officially retired in 2018, he continued speaking about UFOs until his passing in 2019. The Fredericton Region Museum now hosts a huge collection of his works from decades of research. Whether you are a believer or not, Stanton's scientific investigation offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of UFO hunters. Stanton T. Friedman was also inducted into the UFO Hall of Fame in Roswell, New Mexico. After Majestic 12 and Glenn Dennis, Stanton's involvement in Roswell diminished, but the story doesn't end there. In 1994, under pressure from a New Mexico congressman and the General Accounting Office, the US Air Force admitted that the weather balloon explanation was a cover story for Project Mogul, a military surveillance program. Well, that's a story for another video. I want to thank you all for listening, see you in the next one, and remember, history is written in mystery.